New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Why, hello. It's me, Bonnie Gonzalez, your doula for grief. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I thank you for joining me today to discuss, grief. So, a little bit about me is that I am a registered nurse, I'm a grief coach, I'm a religious science practitioner, and a licensed soul collage facilitator, and most importantly of all, a human being on the planet right here at this time with you. And I am here to speak life into loss and grief. I feel that my mission, I must say, is to help demystify grief, to really welcome grief into our lives, welcome it with an understanding. Let me rephrase that, to shed some light, some understanding on grief and how grief is one of life's biggest teachers, one of the biggest teachers. Grief has gifts. Grief has messages for us when we can stop and pause and just be with grief and to understand what grief is about other than a human experience. But it's, wow, I put myself in the dark here, folks. So talk about shedding light. How about shed some light on myself? So with that, I want to say, if this is your first time joining me, I want you to know that you have come to the right place. You have come to the right place to start your recovery from grief and with grief. And if you're returning, I am just honored to know that you're finding value in these conversations or this dialogue. And I invite you to really make this hour about you. Get yourself a cup of tea. If you're watching live, you have time for a cup of tea, to get a cup of tea. If it's a replay, push the pause button and come back. But I want you to make this hour about you and for you. And I'm going to start by explaining what is grief. And grief is just caused by loss. I don't want to say just, because losses are intensive for us as humans. Loss really puts us into grief. And when I say loss, I mean any expected or even, unexpected event, but even an expected event that happens that changes your life in a way that you can't go back to the way your life was before. And that loss can be, I always take my hat off and I honor death as the biggest loss that we will experience as humans, the loss of a loved one. But that's not the only loss that we encounter in life or will experience in life. There's loss of relationships, divorce, that's a big loss, and even loss of friendships. Geographical moves that takes you away from your everyday life as you know it and your everyday friends and activities. A geographical move can put you in a really a new place and space within yourself and leave you grieving for what you had before. Um, Other losses, as I said, death, geographical moves. Oh, illness. That's another one. Surgeries that leave our bodies different than what they were prior to the surgery. Aging is a loss. I'm dealing with that. It's like, oh yeah, I'm trying to make friends with aging, and body changes and things that happen with aging. So and don't forget a loss of a job, either being fired or even getting a promotion, and suddenly you're with new people, your new responsibilities. So all those things are losses that then put us into grief. And grief are the emotions that we experience. The first thing we think of is sadness. Anger is another one that we can hold on really tightly to when we're in grief, holding on to anger. Confusion, even numbness, the sense of I don't feel anything. I don't feel anything. And also joy. Joy can be a part of it. I know someone that said that losing a loved one that had been suffering for a long time, that they found themselves joyous, that that person was no longer suffering. And in turn, it meant he was no longer suffering. So that is the difference of loss that puts us into grief. And I'm telling you, grief gets your attention like nothing else in life can. There's no other situations other than a loss that gets you in touch with you. Get you asking yourself, what do I want? What do I need? I want to read something from Ayala Van Zandt. I just love her. Because she looks at loss and grief as just transformation, and maybe if we can start holding it in different ways. I feel that the word grief itself has a lot of energy attached, and all of it is negative, I must say. But if we can learn to view grief with another light. I had someone, a person I had just met the other day, and they asked me what I do. And I said, oh, I'm a doula for grief, or grief coach. And she said to me, oh, grief, don't you find that depressing? And I just said, no, when I'm talking about grief, all burners are fully lit. I am truly alive because I, through my own personal experience, have been able to see the gift of grief. And that's all I want, is for others to begin to see the gifts of grief. And when I can allow myself to grieve wholeheartedly, full bore, I give other people around me permission to do the same. And that's how we change the scenario of this understanding of grief. It's like that dark building at night where one light comes on and another light comes on and one floor lights up, and slowly the entire building is illuminated. That's what I feel is my purpose, my mission, my intention right now in my life, is to be the light that ignites another light or another candle, so that we can all start to just be comfortable with the word grief. And I said I wanted to read this by Ayala Van Zandt. And she just says, anyway, I'll read it. I'll let you be the judge. And it starts out with a quote from Golda Meir. And it says, those who don't know how to weep with their whole heart don't know how to laugh either. That's what I'm talking about, leaning into what we're feeling. So she says, when we lose a loved one to death or end a long-term relationship, it is perfectly normal to grieve. We must honor and recognize each stage of the grief and every emotion we have. There will be shock, denial, anger, confusion, fear, helplessness, numbness, and eventually acceptance. There will be a point when we do not know what to do, but we want to do something. At that point, when we do not know what to do, but we want to do something, it is at that point we must understand and accept that there is no death. There is not an end. There is only transformation. Our loved one now exists in a new time, a new place, a new reality, and so do we. The relationship as we knew it has been transformed from the physical to the spiritual, from marriage to separation, from loveship to friendship. It has not ended, it has changed. When we allow ourselves to grieve, we release the negative emotions and thoughts that make it easier to accept the change. I'll just read that again. When we allow ourselves to grieve, we release the negative thoughts and emotions that make it easier to accept the change. And when we do not grieve, we get stuck. Grief is natural and normal and to be expected. We owe it to ourselves and the memory of the relationship to grieve and cleanse our souls. And her affirmation that she asks of you or offers to you is, I will take the time to grieve and prepare myself for the change. I will take the time to grieve and prepare myself for the change. And the same person that was talking to me about finding grief to be a difficult subject, I'll put it that way, herself said that she had never allowed herself to grieve her losses. And she had a myriad of losses. And so I just offer, if you're finding yourself that you're in that place that you don't allow yourself to grieve or have not allowed yourself to grieve, I just offer you to just lean into that emotion of what comes up when you think about the loss. What comes up? And if it's so painful, you go, oh, I can't think about that right now. I can't do that. I'm in the middle of the grocery store. I'm at the bank. You can make a deal with it. Okay, I'll lean into that when I get home or a little bit later. But leaning into it, allowing yourself to feel it. And if you can just do it for 2 minutes, like the first time it comes up, maybe 2 minutes. The second time, 3, 4, 5 minutes. I also invite you to make a space in your daily life if you've suffered a loss and you're in grief. Allow yourself to grieve just 5 minutes a day. You can set a timer. You can cry, you can weep, you can write. Just set the timer. And I say this, I know it's not easy. I know it's not easy, but I say this. The more you allow yourself to lean in like that, the less painful it becomes. And remember, grief's superpower is healing. Yes, healing. The very thing that you want is the very thing that you run away from. It's the very thing that you don't know I can't. But if you can look at grief, it has a beautiful healing power. And my gosh, we're so resilient. We'd be able to find that sense of resilience within that. So I just wanted to read that and to say that, to just lean into grief if you're finding yourself not wanting to, just 2 minutes, 3 minutes. And if you really are stuck with grief and it's been going on for a while and you're feeling like you're really just depressed, reach out for help. Reach out. Be it, there's support groups, I'm sure, looking around to find friends that can support you right where you are. And also there's professional help. I'm a grief coach. I'm available as well. So reach out. My tagline for grief is don't do grief alone. Don't do grief alone. So that's my spiel on getting ready for a discussion on rituals that can help us move through grief. So that's our theme for today. Our theme for today is the power of creating rituals to heal grief. Creating ritual to heal grief. So what we're going to do, I'm going to take a break and come back, and we'll talk about ritual. I even have plans to do a ritual if everything here on my end cooperates. It's been one of those days where it's like, the energy has its own. It has its own flow, and I'm trying to get into the flow of that energy versus forcing the flow into me. So anyway, so we'll take a break and we'll come back and discuss creating ritual to heal grief.
Please help us say thank you to our organizational sponsors, including the Hefferland Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Center for Spiritual Living on the Lake, Unity Kitchener, Unity Spiritual Center Ottawa, Om Center for Spiritual Living, Satya Center, Begin Within Ministries, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and the Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. Thank you for being part of the New Thought Media Network. Please like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network, positively inspiring.
Back and continuing our discussion on ritual, creating ritual to help heal our grief. And wow, it's a big subject. It's like I wanted to start with a definition of ritual, but then I thought, I want to start with the history of ritual. Well, starting with the history of ritual is just, I was a bigger task than I realized, because ritual has been around as long as humans have been around. There's no starting place that you can go back to say that this is where ritual began. It's just really a rather kind of a mystical way that ritual has come about. But ritual is such a part of our life. A ritual, it's even getting up in the morning, getting up, washing your face, brushing your teeth, going through that, welcoming in a new day, making your bed. That's a sort of a ritual as well. And so it's just such a part of our lives. And I'll talk about a little bit about some rituals around the world, but I'll start with the definition of ritual. And a ritual is defined as a symbolic activity that is performed before, during, or after a meaningful event in order to achieve some desired outcome, such as alleviating grief, to winning a competition, to making it rain. Rituals help people relieve negative feelings. It helps them to make sense of their loss. And this is what people are so in search of. When you have that loss, your world is just turned upside down. Even when, as I said, loss of a job, if you were suddenly let go or fired from your job, my gosh, everything is topsy-turvy. First thing you think is, why did that happen? What in the world is going on? And so rituals help people come to terms with grief, okay? Following the loss of a relationship, a job, or even an important competition or completion. because ritual has a powerful effect that grieving rituals help people cope with the chaotic impact of loss. And there are many types of rituals that people use to cope with grief and loss. And I just want to say, when you're doing whatever loss you're identifying and want to create a ritual around it, it is your intention. You set the intention of what it is that you desire. Are you setting the intention to be in acceptance of what's happened? Setting the intention that this will never happen to me again. I've done that. I've done that. I had some horrific experience and I just thought, I'm doing a ritual. This will never happen to me again. And knock wood, it has not. And that's been some years ago. So you set the intention for what it is that you need, what you desire to come from a ritual. And as I said, since people who've suffered some kind of loss often feel as if their lives are out of control. And again, using rituals to help restore that feeling of control, restore a sense of balance. And in turns, it makes it easier to cope with the grief that is there. And as I said, why rituals can vary, the underlying principle is to restore a sense of comfort at the same time. And I did so much research on grief, on rituals and grief, that, I did it really more on rituals. There were just so many, things that came up. There was one, I want to say it was Rome, and I should have written it down, but I so love this ritual, and it lasts for 3 days, and it's done so that people are not feeling so oppressed by their lives, so oppressed, and that things are out of control. And that ritual is like, for 3 days, everything is just the reverse. Your boss no longer gives you instructions or orders. You give your boss orders. Children no longer listen to the parents. The parents are in turn forced to listen to the children. And it just goes on. Everything is reversed. And they were just talking about, you're allowed to, go and call your boss, whatever term you want to call them that's not nice, a airhead or jerk or whatever comes to mind that would not be acceptable, that you would get fired for using such language. You were allowed. And this went on for 3 days. And it was such a ritual in the culture and such an ingrained part of the culture that people did not take offense when it happened. That they understood that this was happening for 3 days, and that after that, life would go back to normal. And the whole idea was that afterwards, there's people that didn't hold power, didn't feel devalued or not appreciated. They felt that they had their turn of holding the power and being the ones in command and authority, and finding that it helped people to feel their lives were in balance, because they knew that there would be a day that they could again hold the power. But that was just one ritual that I thought was quite interesting. And here in every culture has some ritual around death, and we call ours a funeral, where we can just be with the memory of that person and holding them, honoring them. We have somebody that delivers a eulogy. There's usually I'll call it a time where everyone, the audience, are invited to come and share their stories around that person's life. And having that ritual, having that place, I remember when my mom died, and oh my goodness, I was just dreading the funeral. I was just so dreading the funeral. It was, I felt like my life I could not start to reorganize my life until the funeral happened. I felt that I was in this state of limbo, that I couldn't do anything until after the funeral, even though I dreaded the funeral. It was like, but I felt like that ritual would then give me, and I hate the word closure. Someone said you only close on a house, but being in that moment of reconciling and accepting of what has happened. And it was, as I said, dreading it, but in the same vein, knowing that I needed that ritual to happen so that I could start to put my life back together. So that, with funerals and so many things that I've read about, afterlife or whatever you believe. I'm just sharing my ideas. I'm not saying that's right, wrong, or anything. But my philosophy is that I think the spirit does stay on until after the funeral. I really do feel that that is going on for them as well as myself. And so knowing that the spirit needs to move on, to continue its journey, I'll put it that way, to continue its journey. So having the funeral marks the time that, yes, thank you. They reflect back, say thank you, and then they continue on their journey. And so I just want to say that ritual offers you a sense of comfort and normalcy in a world that can feel upside down. And you know that this happens when we're grieving the loss of someone that's important in our life. Ritual can give you a sense of feeling that there are things that still matter, and also things that you have some control over. Yes, you're feeling back into a sense of empowerment, control, because loss has that way of really getting us to feel that anything can happen. I have no control over it. But a ritual gives you back that sense of control. And plus, a ritual can help you to reconnect to the memory of the one you've lost. It gives you special time to remember the good times and to help get through the difficult periods. And I want to say this from Angelise Arian. She was Angelise an anthropologist that studied cultures. Angelise Arian, which we lost a few years ago, maybe 5 years ago, maybe. But anyway, Angelise Arian puts it this way, that the seat of the soul is where the outer world and the inner world meet. Yes, the seat of the soul is where the outer and inner worlds meet. And rituals provide the bridge between the outer world and the inner world. It's a place that they connect and come together in the seat of the soul. And ritual provides the bridge between inner and outer worlds and connects and creates a content for reconnecting to the seat of our souls, gets us back in touch with our own soul. And the end result of all rituals are an increased sense of balance, strength, energy, and comfort. So I'll read that again. This is from Angelise Arian. The seat of the soul is where the outer and inner worlds meet. Rituals provides the bridge between inner and outer worlds and creates a content for reconnecting to the seat of our souls. The end result of all ritual are increased balance, strength, energy, and comfort. And I like to offer resilience. And so just knowing this, that you can create a ritual at any time that to help you reconnect to your own self because nothing can take us out of ourselves in such a way as loss. And I am okay. What I'll just do this part, then we'll take a break, and I'll come back and do a ritual. But grief is is an experience unlike any other that you'll ever experience. When a loss occurs, it can feel like there isn't a single aspect in your life that this loss hasn't affected. One part of grief that can be particularly difficult are dates, like the death anniversary, birthdays, Mother's Days, Father's Day, due dates, wedding dates, anniversaries, or holidays. Not only are these days themselves awfully filled with grief, but the days and weeks leading up to them can bring feelings of anxiety, worry, sadness, uncertainty, and dread. People choose various ways to honor their loved one on these challenging days, but many find it hard to know what to do. So it can be helpful to make a game plan for these days in advance. It can also help to make plans that can be easily changed depending on how you feel once the day has actually arrived. Asking your family and friends for support can be vital. So I always say that have a plan for any date. Any of those dates are going to be difficult for you. Not letting the day catch you off guard. And that's why planning a ritual that can bring you comfort, if that's what it is that you need to feel comforted, you need to have this sense of feeling secure. And out of all of the research that I did around grief and ritual, and not just grief, I'll say with rituals, since that is our theme, is the power of ritual to heal grief, that all rituals came from that place of people needing to make sense out of events that happen in their lives, like protection from diseases and from natural disasters that would help. So they wanted some sense of security, comfort, and also by having ritual builds that sense of connection. We all want to feel connected and that we belong and sense a part of community. And that's another beautiful aspect of ritual, is that it can allow for the building of community, that allowing for that connection. You're sharing a same bond, you're sharing the same cause, sharing the same intent at that moment, which builds connection, which is what helps us heal through grief, is by being in community, being connected. You know, I say that grief needs to be heard, grief needs to be validated, grief needs to be shared. And what better place than in ritual? What better place? A ritual covers those three pillars of healing from grief that I personally have identified through my experience of seeing that aspect of healing. I think what we're going to do, we're just going to take a break, and I'm going to come back and do a little bit of a ritual, and ask you to start thinking about what you would like to do as a ritual. What kind of intent do you want to set? Where are you in your grief process? And we'll come back and we'll talk a little bit more about intentions for our rituals. So I'll see you in a little bit.
New Thought Radio, music from all your favorite New Thought artists. From Jamie Lula, Karen Drucker, Gary Lynn Floyd, Ricky Byers, Daniel Nahmod, Eddie Watkins Jr., and many, many more. 24/7 New Thought Radio. Positively inspiring.
Hello, I'm still here, and we're still discussing ritual. So thank you and welcome back. I wanted to do a little bit of a ritual, but I want to just share a little bit more information now with you on ritual. And I love this. It says, just as there is no one way to breathe, neither are there only one way to create a ritual or to memorialize your loved one. So we'll choose loved one today, but if you want to make a ritual for any other loss that you've had in your life, and when I say loved one, let's include our pets. You know, our pets are really our loved ones. They are loved ones that love us unconditionally without your, getting your PhD or making the bed or cleaning the bathroom. Your pets love you regardless. So let's include pets in that also. And so I'll just define ritual once more. A ritual is defined as a ceremony or body of ceremonies. Repeat it routinely. A ritual may also be seen as a social gesture. Do you know that? Oh, I guess we do know that. Don't we have weddings? Aren't those very social gatherings? There are no rules about how rituals can be done. You can perform them privately or share them with others. They are ceremonies of meaning and intent. That is the part that is so vital here to understand. Meaning and intent. And that's what I'm saying. It gives you control to say what you want the intent of your ritual to be. And then I found some ritual types or 4 categories of ritual. And the first one was continuity. A ritual in which the bond to your loved one is affirmed and acknowledged as ongoing. A transitional ritual would be a ritual that acknowledges healing and movement from a place of pain. The third one was reconciliation. A ritual of amends or forgiveness. There are so many people that I've met, clients, or just in general, that really could take this ritual to heart, a ritual of amends or forgiveness. Because so oftentimes, the reason a person is finding it hard to move forward in their grieving process is because there's feelings of guilt. I didn't do this, I didn't do that, I didn't have the best relationship with my dad and my mom or whatever, but you can do rituals around that to heal that. One that I will just say that I've done myself, that a ritual is lighting a candle. I love incense, lighting a candle, incense, and then writing a letter of apology to the loved one. Writing a letter to say, I'm sorry that I couldn't be there when you needed me the most. I'm sorry that, I apologize. I prefer the word apologize. I'm sorry. For me, it allows me to feel a little bit more in integrity and that I really sat with it when I say I apologize. But I apologize for not having been there when we had the surgery, not making that a priority at that time. And writing that letter of apology. And then, after it's written, I imagine them writing a letter back to me. What would they say to me? And that has been so comforting, so enlightening, giving me shining areas on blind spots in my own life that I didn't see until writing that letter and having that response. And so that's a reconciliation. It's a ritual of amends or forgiveness. And the fourth is affirmation, a ritual of acknowledgement and confirmation of your connection with your loved one. The goal of the ritual is to transform the experience by creating a bridge between the concrete and the symbolic, creating that bridge that Angelise Arian talked about. And the symbolic, the conscious and the unconscious, the participant and the community, the world of the living and that of the dead. So I thought that was just another interesting take on ritual and how important, how significant, how big it can really be, and how impactful your life it can be to create ritual around your grief. And this is just something to think about when you're creating a ritual or a memorial experience. What is that you want from the experience? What do you want? Remember, this is your ritual that you're creating, addressing what your needs are. What is it that you want from the experience? What materials and space do you need? Do you need to be outdoors? You want a small room? You want to be in a chapel, a sanctuary? What materials and space do I need? And what might I want to share? Who do I want to share this with? Who might I want to share this experience with? Whatever comes to mind. If it's like, no, I want to do this alone, so be it. There's no right, there's no wrong way. Again, this is your ritual. And then when will I do the ritual? When do you want to do it? Do you want to do it on any of those anniversary dates that we talked about, or using some of the natural cycles of the natural earth cycles, like be it a solstice or equinox, a new moon, a full moon? When do you want to do the ritual? You want to do it every Sunday, every Wednesday was a special time with you and your loved one. So those are the questions to ask yourself around that. And then lastly is when you're performing the ritual, you have an opening to your ritual, an opening and a closing. I invite that. An opening to the ritual where you state the intention of the ritual. You may wish to invite others to participate. Then you begin the ritual. Then allow time to take in the experience and to celebrate the memorial or to celebrate your ritual. And I thought that I would do a ritual, and this came really right this morning that I should do this ritual. And I'll tell you why. My mother made her transition 7 years ago. It's been a while, but I don't have any dreams about her. I'm really a prolific dreamer and have lots of dreams and lots of messages that come to me. And I'm just like, so disappointed that my mom has chosen not. I'm disappointed that she's chosen to be so silent. Okay, that's where I am. I want more connection. I feel that. I feel that there's a continuation, that just like Ayala Van Zandt said, that there's no end. For me, I feel there's a continuation, and continuation in different realms. So I am going to do a ritual, and what I have, I'm sure you can't, I don't think you can hear it, but I have a bell. That's what I have here on my altar. I have a bell, which is for sound. I have candles, which is for light. For me, it's shining light into darkness, knowledge, water for purification, and then burning some incense, and that's also for purification. And I am going to light my candles. And as I said, my intention is for my mom because, as I said, she's been gone 7 years, and I did not have a dream about her until last night. I was just, oh my gosh, I am still so honored that she chose to visit me last night. So that's what I want to do. I want to do a ritual honoring her, thanking her, and letting her know that my love for her still continues and grows. That, we lose our loved ones physically, but there's a physical loss. But do you realize our love still grows for them spiritually, emotionally? There's no stopping love. And love is the greatest power of all. So this ritual, it's called a 5-candle ritual, but it's just me and I'm having a hard time navigating 5 candles. So I will still, I have 3 candles, but I will still do the affirmations for each candle. And so what you can do with this 5-candle ritual is 5 candles and a reading. And it's 5 candles of your choice. You can place them in a circle, however you want to place your candles, a single file, but I'm doing in a circular fashion. And it just that you can use this at any time that you want to honor your loved one or honor your grief, and making a space for your grief. And for me I'm just acknowledging my mom today. So I'm going to ring my bell 3 times. In this ritual, I am honoring my mother, who birthed me, cared for me, socialized me to be a loving and kind person on the planet right now. And I just honor her and her memory. And I say thank you. This is a ritual for me of gratitude, acknowledging her. And with the first candle, this candle that I have lit, this candle represents my grief, the sorrow and pain of losing someone I love and cherish, the depth of my love and our relationship. The second candle that I light, this candle represents my courage, the strength to live on without you, and the support I have found in others. And then this light represents my memory of you, memories of joy, memories of challenging times, and of the dreams we had for our future together, the memories of you and me. And I'm just adding to my own ritual, ringing the bell after each candle is lit. This light, this candle, represents my love, the love we shared and created, and the cherished place in my heart where you always live. And this last light represents hope. Hope that as we make our way through our grief, we will discover inner courage. We will take comfort in our memories And we will know that once found, hope can never be lost, but will continue to grow as we share it with each other. Ashe, Aho, Amen, and so it is. Look how easy, how simple that is. But I just want to be in a moment of silence for this ritual that I have just performed, honoring my mother, Gladys Speaks. So with that, I thank you. I thank you for being a part of my ritual. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being present. And I would love it if you create a ritual, if you would let me know what that ritual was and how you felt afterwards. Because right now, even though I've done this just in a short span of time with you, I do feel a sense of connection to my mother. Some of the anger has dropped away. I'd like more visits. I'll put that out there. So knowing that how you grieve is how you grieve. Each person grieves differently. Different things bring solace to different people, different things. Everybody has different comfort zones and levels, and different things bring them comfort, is what I'm saying. So try ritual. There's so many rituals that you can do. There's water rituals. There's even bathing rituals, where you can even just, as you're getting ready to take your shower, make that moment somehow sacred and say, when I enter the shower, I am washing away my sadness. I am honoring my sadness. I'm honoring my sadness. I'm allowing this water to pour over me, to heal me, to comfort me. As I said, that's how simple a ritual can be, because you set the intention. So please do that. I thank you so much for listening today and for your patience as I move through doing my own personal ritual. And yes, just lean into ritual for a little bit. Do some, or just think about what's your favorite ritual. I see that we have Debbie from Liverpool. Oh, and Debbie lost her brother and feels so sad and shocked, and all the emotions and heartbreak in the UK. And Debbie, I would love it if you're still there to put your brother's name in the chat, if you can, and we'll just send love and light. Let's send love and light to Debbie and to her brother, knowing that the divine Holy Spirit brings comfort, peace, and joy. Neil. So Neil, sending you love on your journey. And knowing, Debbie, want you to know that Neil is never far from you. He is closer to you now than he is in life. He's closer to you than the eyelashes on your eyes. He's that close. Talk to him. Let him know. Pour out your heart to Neil. And know that I'm embracing Neil in this ritual as well. So thank you. Thank you so much. Time is getting away. I just wanted to talk about some of the programs that are available here on New Thought Media. Debbie, just to let you know, there's so many really wonderful programs that can bring you comfort, allow you to really find out more about yourself as well, especially with sadness. That some of the programs can really be uplifting in a place that brings you some comfort during your darkest time. Comfort and a sense of connection, that there are people that care. And we at New Thought Media here, we do care. We're prayer twice a day. I know it's 8:15 Central Time. No, it's 8:15 Mountain Time, AM and PM, twice a day. They're prayers. Debbie, you can tune into that to find comfort and solace. We also have Reverend Webb, who's on Sundays. I call him, I think he's a psychic, but we won't say that word. He may take offense. He's intuitive. He is an intuitive speaker and love listening to him. And also we have Fireside Chat on Friday nights with Michael Mangus. He's a hoot. He'll make you laugh, Debbie, that's for sure. And then we have poetry, prayer, and practice, which I believe she's tomorrow. And check her out at that time. And then there was a new show that I had not seen, Spiritual Toolkit. I'm tuning in on Thursday so I can get my toolkit restocked. And that's with Reverend Brock Ford. I believe he must be new, and if he's not, Reverend Brock, I so apologize, but please. Oh, and Debbie's asking me what time are these in the UK. Now I know that if I say it's Mountain Time, that's 7 hours, because I'm 6 hours. I am Central Time, so I'm 6 hours behind the UK. So you are 7 hours ahead. So you got to tune in early. Oh no, you can do the early. You can do the 8 a.m. prayer and be there. Yes, there you go. Thank you, Debbie. So yes. Oh, so we stopped at Spiritual Toolkit. Oh, and then Zoe on Thursdays at 12 noon. And Debbie, so that would be 8 p.m. I think I got that right, Debbie. 12 noon. Zoe is on Choice, Your Creative Superpower. Listen to him. It's a 30-minute show. He just gives so many wonderful, beautiful nuggets of wise wisdom. So I am going to have to say goodbye. This time goes by so fast. But here's what I want you to do. I don't want you to do grief alone. Do not do grief alone. I want you right now to go and look in the mirror and look yourself in the eye and say, I love you. What do you need? What do you need today? Whatever comes up, I want you to honor that, because you are so worthy. You're so worthy of having your needs met. And I say thank you. I'm feeling so honored that you joined me today. Again, I am Bonnie Gonzalez, your doula for grief. I am a grief coach, so I am here for you. Thank you, and until next week, honor what comes up. As I said, ask what do I need, and I want you to honor that. Thank you. Ciao.